Where am I? Where is everyone? Where's everyone? Where's everyone? They're coming. They're coming. Where's everyone? Where? I can't see. Where? I'm finally out. I'm finally. Let me out into the fountain. Where am I? Oh no, that has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the what we're talking about today, but I'm gonna give myself an applause. Listen, today we're talking about growth. Do you think you're grown? People always say, Dr. D Nice, you have such a childish spirit, and this is my childish spirit right there in my acting debut, The Escape. This was written and directed by Dr. D Nice, filmed by the Wash Belly, and in Jamaica, that is considered your youngest child. He filmed it for me under much duress, and I was directed him for sure. But today, we're going to talk about the direction of your life. When are you really grown? Is it when you're 18 and you're able to vote? Is it when you're 21 and you can drink? Is it when you're a sweet 16 and you had that big party where all your friends are and you're just having a ball? Quinceañeras when you're 15. When are you fully grown? Let's talk about it. We're going to hit on the 3 parts that really would indicate that you are grown. And it's going to be, we're talking about the physical. When are you considered physically grown? When is your body fully developed? Well, guess what? It is different for girls and boys. For boys, it's you know what? The numbers are all over the place. There's some things that say boys max out their height at 16. Then there's some that say it's at 18. Then there's some that say it's at 21. Like, that's a big range. We know it can be variable. For some people, though, you definitely can stop. Their height is just they max it out at 16. And for some people, they max out later on as they grow older. And this can all be because of genetic things, just, you know, who's your dad and your mom and your grandmama and them. All of that, it can be related to that. It also could be environmental factors. And one thing that people I was surprised. I may have learned it at some point when I was in medical school, and I was reading exercise. Activity level can help stimulate growth hormone to cause you to develop and grow taller. So listen, y'all, if y'all not out there exercising, if you ever needed a reason to exercise more, then this is it. It may be helpful in making sure that you get a little taller, because I know most guys want to be tall. I know a lot of girls do too. And it's not as big a deal, I think, for girls, but I know most guys, they love the idea of being tall. I'm not saying that if you go out there and hit a rigorous program, get you a gym membership, I'm not saying that all of a sudden it's going to add 3, 4, 5 more inches to your stature. But, you know, let's play the odds game here. Would the exercise hurt? No. And if it could be beneficial for you, go ahead and do it if you would like to be taller. But this all starts when you're puberty. For boys, puberty starts around somewhere between age 10 to 15. Your voice starts cracking. You start developing some of those secondary sexual characteristics. Hair is growing in places. Your penis and testes and things like that are getting bigger. And you're just beginning to develop into a man. Here's the other thing, though. Even when your height has maxed out, as you grow into adulthood as a boy, from a boy to a man, And even though once your height is maxed out, then you do still develop even into like the 20s and 30s, you're developing more muscle mass. You've seen friends of yours, they graduate from high school, and then you see them the next year, you're like, man, what you doing? What you been doing? They just look bigger and bulkier and manlier. That's what's happened. You're just developing more muscular. A lot of boys in high school, you see them, they're kind of leaner, and then once they become like in college and stuff, they just get bulkier and bigger, more manly. That's the development of boys, the physical development. We're going to get into mental development as well as spiritual. Now for the girls actually start developing and going into puberty, making that transition from girlhood to womanhood about 2 years before boys do. Typically, they start around 8 to 13 years old. They're going into puberty. This is where they're developing breasts, and you may have your period starts, and all the different things that kind of projects you into womanhood. But as far as stature and height, most girls, they usually top out in middle school and high school. That's it. There's not very many girls that grow much taller after high school, honestly. As a matter of fact, it's thought that most girls you top out around 14, 15. That's it. I mean, I don't think I got much taller. I think after maybe freshman year or something, 5'4", I've been there, and that's it. I'm just stuck right there. And you know what? I made it work for me. It's cool. No big deal. And so that's typically how the height work for women. Now, once all that kind of caps out and you pass through puberty, you feel that puberty is ended, you're capped out in your height, just like how guys later, and they can push into their 20s and 30s, and they're developing more muscle. Girls, your fat end up being distributed in different parts of your body to give you a more womanly figure. So the shape that you end up with in high school may not be what you finally end up with when you're in your full womanhood. You may end up being a little bit more curvier. And so fret not if you're feeling that you're about to graduate from high school and you're still a stick that's straight up and down. Don't worry about it. The hormones still working on you. It is not done with you yet. And before you know it, you're going to have the womanly figure that you crave for. At least the majority of you will. That is the physical development. Now, let's look at the next one, which is our mental development. Now, this one is the brain, and your brain is said to be not fully developed until you're age 25. Like, what, Dr. D Nice? My brain is good. I'm not saying nothing wrong with your brain. What I'm saying is it doesn't finish completely developing until you're 25. Now, the part of the brain that is really developing that time, you already can move your arms and coordinate and all these things. What's developing now is the frontal lobe or the prefrontal cortex, the area of reason, the area of wisdom. People always ask, Dr. D Nice, why do you call your channel Wisdomteethinger? Well, here it goes. I mostly, when I'm going to schools, when people invite me to speak, I speak to kids, people, humans in between teens to early 20s. That is the time where your area of wisdom is developing. And legend has it that is the same time when your teeth in the back of your mouth are developing. And now I'm saying legend has it that it's called the wisdom teeth. Those wisdom teeth are called the wisdom teeth because they develop at the same time, along the same time as wisdom does, which is your frontal lobe. And this is the area of the brain that allows you to put actions and consequences together when you stop acting so impulsively and begin to kind of rationalize and think through. This is the part that really makes you an adult. You're no longer thinking and making decisions from your midbrain, your deep brain. And they call it the animal brain. I don't really like that because, I am anti-human beings are animals. Human beings are human beings. They're special. You can't even compare it to any animals. This is not that's not what we do here, because human beings are special. But I digress. Let me tell you, you're no longer now, as you develop, as you grow, you're no longer making decisions just by emotions and whims. Now you're beginning to think through. If I do this, then that will happen. If I don't study, then I'll fail. If I go smoke this, then I could get in trouble. You start beginning to put these together. And when you've fully understood the concept of wisdom, then that is when you're an adult. And unfortunately, there's a whole lot of people out there that don't qualify. I know, right? I know. You had a picture in your head right then and there. There's some people that have not taken the time to allow their frontal lobe to develop. They allow themselves to be influenced by so many things and really not develop and grow into full adulthood. That is, we have the area in our show called the frontal lobe training, where I share stories about my life and tell you what wisdom would do and what stupidness would do. And this is a part of helping you develop that prefrontal cortex, that frontal lobe. It's important to develop that and learn proper decision making to make sure that you become fully grown. You're grown. And of course, once we have done with the mental aspect of growth, let's talk about spiritual. And looks like my alignment is off on that one, but y'all know what it is. Oh, shout out to Tydai again for the lovely picture. You're just seeing the bottom half of it. But if you look at the actual thumbnail, the picture that I put up for the show, you can see the whole picture that Tydai drew. And the last part of being grown, the last part of development is your spiritual growth. You cannot consider yourself fully grown until you have established some sort of spiritual connection. And here is the truth. If you want to fully grow, yes, there are grown adults out there that have no sort of spirituality and don't even acknowledge that. But you know what? You're wrong. That's all I got to tell you. You are wrong. You need to connect with your creator. If you want to be a fully grown, fully developed, fully mature human being, you have to be able to connect with the Lord Jesus Christ that created you. And, there's some of you that maybe didn't grow up in Christian homes, don't even understand the concept of God because that wasn't a part of who you were. Or, you are currently in a Christian home and you've mostly relied on your parents to say, hey, let's get up and go to church. Hey, have you read your Bible today? Why don't you just pray about that? Let's talk about each person individually. Let's talk about the person that has no connection, no spirituality, that they were never introduced to anything like that. And some of it is just really, let me back up and say, I know every human being feels that there's something out there that's bigger than them. Everybody does. It's just how we're wired. You can try to deny it if you want. You're lying. Plain and simple. When you're laying there in the quiet of your bed and you're like, oh, who are we? Where am I? Am I alone? Is there anyone out there? Those thoughts come to you. And the answer is yes. There is a force bigger than you. There's a creator of the universe, the person that created you and loves you. And I'm telling you now, to fully feel grown and mature, reach out and connect with this creator, who is called God. It honestly, I know God has a whole bad rap because honestly, you know what? Let's can we talk? Can we talk? Let's just talk for a second. Dr. D Nice is a Christian. I am. I grew up in church from the time I was this big. I was um, participating in church. My parents were, my dad's an elder, all of that. Let's be honest. There are some Christians that have given God a bad rap. They are poor representations of who he is. They present him as somebody to be feared or somebody to be not feared who don't really care what you do. They're presented to him his church as just a financial organization for the gain of whoever is in charge of it. So many things that have made people's mind and body just sour to Christianity. But here's the truth. Guess what? That is not who God is. It is not. And don't let them people take away your blessing because they have totally corrupted Christianity. You know what you want to hear. You know what you've been searching for when you lay there in the quiet and the stillness of your bed, when nobody is around, when the video games are off, when the friends are not there, when you come down from your marijuana high or when you're done drinking, when you're coming down from that, you know that there's something missing. And I'm telling you, it's Jesus, and it's not the Jesus that you think them people that out there that claiming they're Christians and they just misbehave and carry on crazy. That's not the one you want. Just stop for a second. They have lots of videos in there in my playlist that talks about steps to Christ. Go check that out and find the Jesus that's calling you during those times. Okay, so that's the person that don't even believe that there's a creator, nothing like that. That was for you, helping you to grow into full maturity. Now for the people that have grown in a Christian home and you've mostly been relying on your parents to kind of guide you through to be a mature Christian. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But guess what? Now is your time to take that baton and run with it. Before you leave your parents' home, you need to make sure that you have your own personal relationship with God, with Jesus. You pray on your own. You talk to God as if to a friend. If something is worrying you, if you need to make a decision, any decision, this is going to be the time where you reach out to God and look into the Bible and see what answers there are for your different dilemmas or concerns in life. Then you will be fully grown. So you need to be physically grown in where your body is the right height, muscular or fat composition. Then you also need to be mentally where your brain is developed, and then spiritually. All these aspects are absolutely needed for you to consider yourself a fully grown person. Of course, there are changes that happen after you hit adulthood, and that's something else for another day. I'm talking to you, Wisdomteethingers, teen to early 20s. What happens after that? You're going to have to consult Dr. Google. All right. All done. Hey, let me see what's going on.